Today, we are going to go through the 4 phases of growth that you as a roofing company can look towards as kind of a beacon to, 1, know where you're at, but 2, know how to begin really scaling in a methodical and organized way. Welcome today. Welcome to the Roofing Brand Builders Group. Very excited about this one. It's super simple. We're not really doing anything fancy. What we are doing is going through the 4 phases of growth and really just how that looks just for you. So this isn't about being the way to grow your roofing business. Now, I have opinions, of course. There's going to be a million different ways. I mean, some people have grown their roofing company to a crazy number just by doing door knocking. Some people have made massive relationships with insurance agents. Some people have made in relationships with realtors. Some people have just hit the streets and door knocked and all of that. And I think all that's great. What this is 4 different phases of growth that you can look at as you're trying to scale your marketing. And it's really just a map that you can follow. It's a way that you can have kind of a beacon of, okay, I'm in this phase. And if I want to get to this next phase, which will afford me more inbound leads, higher marketing, larger company, then these are the things I need to do. And then once you're here, same thing. These are the things I need to do to get to the next phase. So this gives you a roadmap. And that's what I think is really powerful about it. So that's what we're covering today. It's not going to be a super long one, but there's going to be some in-depth stuff. So I just want to make sure that we're looking at it. If you're on this with me, go ahead and just show some love, do a heart, do a comment. Just let me know that you're here so I can know I'm talking to some people, and we'll get rocking and rolling. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. 4 phases of growth. I'm going to move over to this screen. So 4 phases of growth. Once again, like I said, this is making sure that we have an organized, methodical way to begin scaling and growing the company. This is to make sure that you're able to maintain control throughout this whole process. Because if you don't control your growth, and if it just happens, then honestly, you're in a situation where things aren't really going to be super smooth. You're really just kind of leaving a lot to risk. So what we want to do is create predictable growth and create growth that is expected and that is doing what it's supposed to do, right? So 4 phases of growth. Let's look at phase 1. So as I said, phase 1 is really all about foundation. I call phase 1 is we're dealing with foundation and then scalable processes. What's a foundation? And foundation is just some simple stuff. So 1, you want to have your branding on point. You don't want to have to be like going back once you've already built your company and then changing your brand. This is something you really do want to focus on right at the beginning. If you're going to start hitting some growth, branding something to take seriously. So you want to have a brand manual, which is really just like, okay, these are the colors I use. These are the fonts that I use. And this is the logo that I have, just so you can really get clear on what you look like and what's going to be on all your marketing material and the different fonts to use and all of that. And being able to have that and just send it off to somebody is really valuable. It's something that not everyone has, but the people that do have it, it just makes things a lot smoother. So brand manuals and ideal customer avatar is going to be, what do you do? Who do you do it for? And why do you do it? So really simple. So you want to establish and be able to answer these questions. I want to have a professional logo. What are your brand colors? Like not just, oh, they're blue, but it's this specific blue. Residential only? Are you doing residential and commercial hybrid? Are you doing retail or insurance, restoration, or both? Do you do only replacements or do you do repairs too? What other trades do you have? Do you do gutters? Do you do siding? Do you do windows? Do you do little remodels? All that stuff is important. Like you just need to make sure you understand, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do. and it's not going to change, at least for a period of time. Now, it's definitely fine to add things in the future, and you'll see where that's covered, but you want to focus on like, what are you doing? Where are you doing it? Why are you focusing on it? So professional logo, have your brand colors, be defined on like, what are you doing? Are you doing residential only, residential or commercial, retail, insurance, both, repairs or replacements only? What other trades are you doing and willing to advertise for? And also define an ideal customer avatar. So ideal customer avatar, I'm not going to go into that, but basically, like, who do you work with the best? Is it people who have a $1 million home? Is it people that have a $200,000 home? Is it a specific type of person? Do you work better with families than individuals? Do you seem to do really well with people who are elderly? Like, it's really good, but also what you want to do is like define who is the perfect person. If someone called me and they hit the personality traits, the family traits, the roof traits, the needs traits, and the overall awareness of what they want traits, they hit all those things, what would that person look like? And the reason you want that is because as you're developing your marketing strategies and all that, you want to do all of your marketing to that person. Now, some people say, oh, anyone with a roof, anyone who needs a roof replacement. Well, you can't differentiate yourself and connect with people just by saying, oh, if you have a roof, we're for you. Like, that doesn't work. So you have to really get clear on who you are. Second one, and this is just an opinion from my distribution days, is a leading manufacturer. I really think it's important to have a manufacturer that you push. So it could be GAF, Certainty, Atlas, ICO, Tamco, even. Like, I don't really care what it is. You just want to have a roofing brand that you stand by, that you have a relationship with the manufacturer rep in your area. You offer warranties, you're certified, and all of that. It doesn't mean that you only need one, but you need to have one that, like, this is who you lead with, this is who you charge with, and try to get certified as much as possible. Leading supplier. Now, once again, this is just important as you're getting started. Like, don't jump around. Don't buy one job from ABC, one job from Beacon, one job from the Home Depot. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, get set on who you're going to send the majority of your work, and the only time you don't send your work through them is if they don't have the material or if they just don't have the delivery. And the reason is because if you're going to want to, like, get some of the added benefits of having a good relationship with your supplier, which could be rebates, it could be preferred delivery spots, it could be just lower pricing as they see, okay, this person's loyal to me, I'm going to be loyal to you. Not jumping around is one of the big ways to do that, unless you're just big, which you probably had one person or have one person if you're big that you do focus on. So this is just a little trick from my distribution days, like these two. If I know as a supply rep, for instance, that you always push Certainty and you're certified by them and you have a good relationship with the reps and they stand by you and all of that, so they have good things to say about you to me. And then I know that you're loyal to me and you're pushing as much material as you possibly can. You literally look at it as a partner. You feel excited for sending me that job so our branch can grow. And we're excited to send you that job so you can grow your business. And we know that means things are working on your end. That's a positive thing. And you need to realize, like, that's the kind of relationship that the suppliers want to build. So don't have more complexity. Don't pit people against each other. Just pick one and build loyalty. The next one is going to be a CRM in use. So that's simple. Like, I don't use a paper napkin. Don't use just Excel. Use a CRM of some sort. A lot of the time, my personal opinion is the roofing CRMs are really just project management tools and not actually CRMs. I don't know that that's a commonly shared opinion, but I know what a CRM is, and they are not necessarily like helping you build the relationship with your prospects. They're mostly just helping you manage the job once it's done, which is fine. But either way, have something where you're continuously like have an organized database of leads, of people that you have talked to, of people that you are currently talking to, and people you're currently working with. And make sure you're using it and have like triggers associated with it to make your life easier. CRMs are not just data entry. They're not just moving one thing to a different phase. Like they should give you very clear ideas of when people are in different sections of the CRM, phases of the CRM. You communicate with them differently, and it can have automations and triggers and all that, which is something you should focus on. It's important. It makes your life easier. It allows you to give the best customer service because you don't have to be as heavily focusing on admin. Website. So WordPress website. There's a lot of people who in the roofing industry who have made their own website on GoDaddy, or had someone build something on Wix, or had someone build something on Squarespace, or whatever it is. If you are going to get someone to do your SEO, and one of the people that like really are established in the roofing industry and know what they're talking about, they're going to require that you have either a WordPress website or a website that they're coding from the ground up. Now, if you come to them with a Wix website, anyone who is going to do SEO on a Wix website, it doesn't mean it's wrong, but they should at least communicate with you that at some point the work that they're doing is going to kind of stall out and it's going to be time to move to a better platform. Google just doesn't like certain websites. It doesn't mean it's impossible to rank them, but you're going to have an easier time and you're less likely to hit a wall in your SEO or whatever with that. So the reason I'm saying a WordPress website is foundational is not because you should start SEO right away. You should start SEO when you have the revenue to afford SEO, knowing it's not going to give you a quick return. But the reason that you should be getting a WordPress is because you don't want to all of a sudden get some momentum and then think, okay, I'm moving. I need to build a new website. I promise you, building a new website is a pain in the butt for everybody. It's not easy. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get it done. It's exciting. It's fun, but it's a distraction. And if you really want to make sure you're moving, do it right the first time. Spend a couple thousand, spend $4,000, $5,000. I mean, I wouldn't even be mad if you spend up to $10,000 on a good website as you're getting started, because a good website that you can build off of, that has the backbone of a solid SEO website, maybe that has some built-in location pages and all of that, so you're just really appearing professional, that goes a long way. It's hard to even show you the ROI of just looking good. The closing rate will increase, the conversions will increase, all that stuff. So please don't ignore your website. Next, have an internal and process-driven social media strategy. So what I mean is every time you have a job, you should have before and afters and promote that before and afters and promote the work you're doing, and have a template and have stuff that you're doing. These are things you should do every time. Every time you get a Google review, which hopefully is the majority of your customers, you should have a way that you're promoting the Google reviews. You should have a strategy to get video testimonials. And when you do get video testimonials, you should also know how to promote those. And then you should just be documenting your day. So what do I mean by documenting your day? It's really simple. Is if you're out knocking doors, or if you're inspecting roofs, or if you're on a job site, whatever it is, just make some posts, do some stuff, make sure people see what you do on a day-to-day basis. These are kind of going to be more of like, I'm not going to say lead gen, but like, hey, this is what we do. This is the result of what we do, all that. Great stuff. This is for people to kind of understand what it looks like on a day-to-day basis and what it could look like at any different point in their project. So a lot of the time people wonder, what do I post on social media? What do I do? Well, this is it. These 4 things. If you can do these 4 things over and over and over again, you're good. So now, a referral system. I have very strong opinions about referral systems. I think that everyone should put more focus on referrals than they currently are. With that being said, if you say that you're a referral based business, but then you don't know roughly how many referrals you're going to get in the next 30 days, then you're probably a little bit out of control. Maybe you have your hands off the wheel and the car's going in the right direction for now, but it could go off the path and could really put you in a bad spot, and you probably don't have the control and predictability over your business as you need to. So I really think you need to have a very predictable and controlled referral system, which is why I call it system. It's a program, but I want system because it really kind of like solidifies, like, this is documented, this is formalized, and it's thought out. So the two things I think every referral program should have is a focus on how they get paid and for what. So that needs to be very clearly defined, and they need to understand that intuitively. Like, the moment you explain it, you need to also put as little of your own closing ability in the mix of how they get paid. So if they get you in front of someone qualified and you can't close them, they should not be hurt for that. So I would encourage you to consider paying per qualified appointment rather than per closed deal. And then how to get you leads and associated incentives. So what we do, or what a lot of people do, is that we work with and we help people get set up, is like a monthly lottery or something like that, where they get different entries if they do different things, like post about you on social media, share your business in a group, in a Facebook group, do a video testimonial, do a Google ad, whatever. Like, those are different things, and we walk them through, and that's part of the referral program. Is, hey, we want to get you paid, and we know that you don't just have a list of people in your head to that need a new roof. So we're going to show you how to get your experience in front of the right people so that you can get more referrals for us and sell them on it. This is a sale. It's not just something that you should expect them to do. You need to have a process to get them to do it. And once you have all this processed out, documented, and all that, you're going to get a pretty clear idea of how many referrals you get on average per job. And if you can make sure that you're getting a couple referrals per job, you're going to change your business completely. And if you already are getting a couple referrals per job, but you don't have a very good documented process, I bet we can make this even more ridiculous for you, where you might be getting 3 or 4 referrals per job and have people that love you, that continuously are feeding you referrals and looking for opportunities to get you more business, which is pretty cool. Now, compounding growth process. So I, of course, think this is important. You're going to hear me talk about compounding growth or the 4 growth engines and all that all the freaking time. It's huge. It's important. You can't ignore it. So what is a compounding growth process is? Well, first of all, the 4 growth engines, we did a training on that last week. Comment below if you need it or want it, but otherwise you can just go search for it, 4 growth engines. But that's including direct mail, some specific canvassing, some specific like intentional communication touch points with the client in person and over text, some social media promotion, which is similar to what we already talked about, is like systematizing when you're doing it, documenting your day. Make sure you have review requests. So make sure that you are consistently asking for a review after every single job and have a process for it. And just asking is going to increase the amount, a significant amount. And then database network extraction. So that's a referral program, but that's also just really making sure that all of these things are getting you set up to where if you get in a neighborhood, that is an extraction point. You just got inserted into enemy territory, and it is your job to conquer. It's your job to go and get as many roofs as you can. You need to take over, put your yard sign in as many places. So how do you do that? Do you have a process for that? Well, the 4 growth engines are a really good process to look towards if you need that. So that is phase 1. Phase 1, that's foundation and scalable processes. So When do you want to move to the next phase? Well, just when the processes have been validated. If you have any degree of lead flow, and in this phase, you might add local service ads, and some of the Facebook stuff you're doing is going to get you business and all of that. Once you've seen and consistent, okay, my process is generating me more revenue because I'm following it, which means like, okay, I am consistently getting a couple appointments around appointments and a few referrals from every job. And you are watching that compounding growth where every single opportunity you get turns into more opportunities. And then each of those individual opportunities turn into more opportunities. And you're watching your business grow that way, then you're in a really good spot. Once you are there and you're feeling good about it, if you want to start thinking about more growth and a little bit more aggressive growth, or pouring fuel on the fire, feeding the machine that we just built, now you just want to make sure that you've watched for 30, 60, 90 days that your business is in fact growing as a direct result of the things that you're doing here. So that's when you move to the next phase. Phase 2, validate and scale one acquisition channel. So an acquisition channel, for this purpose, I'm going to be talking about Google ads or Facebook ads or something like that. What we want to do is like, what's something that we can scale? Well, can we scale SEO? Not really. Why? Because SEO isn't a dollar in, dollar out kind of situation. It's a much more long-term play, and you can't speed it up in as many ways. Where with Google ads, you can say, I'm spending $1,000 this month, and I'm going to spend $10,000 the next month, and that's going to get you significant and quick increase in results. One thing I want to make sure is noted about Google ads, which is the one I always suggest starting with. Google ads are not as great of a channel for getting new business as you think, if you have not accomplished the things in phase 1 and validated that process. Why? Because your cost per acquisition gets outrageous. Especially if you're paying commission and all of that, especially if you're getting some repairs, and like, it's just not going to necessarily generate the low cost appointments that you would need to truly scale it. And that's why we have to do things in order. So that's why if you don't have solid processes in place, I promise you, hiring someone to do Google ads for you is not step 1. Not at all. Step 1 is getting the processes in place, working on that. And that's what we do, by the way, but making sure that that's the main focus. Phase 2, validate and scale one acquisition channel. So let's talk about Google here. We want to do a starter budget, and a starter budget is going to get you anywhere from 10 to 15 appointments a month. Probably going to be $2,500 to $4,000 in ad spend. So I would, in your head, think, okay, it's going to cost me $250 to generate an appointment in ad spend. So if you want 10 appointments, that's $2,500. 15 appointments, that's $4,000. That's why the math is right here. It's not perfect, but that's a good place to kind of think. So confirm growth processes are properly compounding. So what do I mean by that? Now that you've done this starter budget, give it 60 days or something before you start judging, but usually it's going to take like 90 days to get in a good spot. So be patient. 60 days is when you should start seeing it do pretty well. You should start maybe getting a monthly ROI just on the appointments. If you just were looking at it in a silo, like just a monthly, not a total budget ROI, but just a monthly ROI, you'll probably start getting that in the 3rd month maybe. And then it will usually take a while, 6 months or so, before you're getting an ROI on the entire investment. So once again, that's why Google ads are not the best first step. But if you have all these processes that multiply your opportunities, 10 to 15 appointments is going to likely turn into multiple more. So if we can get another appointment for every appointment, and if we can get 2 or 3 referral appointments for every job that you complete, then you're going to start seeing this grow and do a lot of things. So in general, just an easy way to look at it is one job from the beginning, from like canvassing around the appointment to the deal being closed, you should usually be getting 2 or 3 jobs out of that. So the majority of your jobs should be process driven, not acquisition channel driven. The acquisition channel, once again, is just an insertion point for you to go do your work and put in the work in the neighborhood, and it's getting you in areas where maybe you wouldn't be getting in otherwise. So one job should turn into 2 or 3 jobs if you're following all that. Once that has happened, before you move on, you want to identify your personnel needs. So this might be where you hire an admin person just to make sure that things are happening on the back end without anything breaking. This is where if you don't have a project manager, I'm all for salespeople being project managers. I just think that you should make sure to give them very clear things to do so they're not just sitting around. But if you don't have a project manager, you probably should have one. If you're managing the projects, like that's probably the biggest bottleneck into you growing, is the fact that you're stuck on job sites all day. Sales team, I don't think you necessarily need a sales team at this point, but if you do have one, or if you don't have one, it might be time to just hire like one person to kind of help you out with sales. So this is when I would focus on like, okay, let's build a little bit of a team here. I'd also do this. We're not scaling or validating another acquisition channel. All we're doing is branding. So I would have some simple videos, have your wife shoot them or something. Don't go crazy, but have a company owner story video or just a company story video, nothing fancy. And then try to get video testimonials. Spend $5 a day, $10 a day, $15 a day, just having that out there with video views as the objective, just hitting the main zip codes that you're working so that people are just seeing you around. And then we want to scale the paid acquisition channel, which is Google at this point. So a scaled acquisition channel, we should at the very least be getting 25 to 30 appointments per month. So I think I would love for you to get more. This is just a matter of what you can handle with the current team and all of that. But I would say you should make sure that your reps are getting an appointment a day at the very least. So if you have a sales rep, then they should be getting at least 1 appointment per day from the Google ads. Even so, you need to make sure that they're doing the process, because if that 1 appointment a day, we can turn that into 3 to 5 appointments a day pretty quickly as they build their pipeline, as they work around the jobs, all that. This will really start stacking up, and it'll allow your salespeople to build their own pipeline. Note, don't make this a moving target. Hiring teams is complicated, difficult. Enjoy it while you can. Have a tight Navy SEAL-esque team. Don't try to hire everyone in the market. It's almost never works as well as people want it to. One of the biggest problems you'll see people talking about is that they're oh, I can't find any good work. My salespeople are leaving me, blah, 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 blah. Well, then just only work with a couple salespeople and just nurture the crap out of that relationship and make sure that they're succeeding and selling as much as a couple people. They're probably not going to leave at that point if you really are giving them the attention. So don't ever get yourself in a position where you need salespeople. Always make it so you have a process, and the process is why you grow, and you're able to have a process and show people what that process is so that they can implement the process for you. Don't have a salesperson that's going and growing your company for you. That's always going to put you in a rough spot unless you just found the most loyal person ever. But it's rare that I've seen someone who's a true rainmaker stay for a very extended period of time. Even when it seems like they're best friends, a year later you hear things going awry. So when do you move to the next phase? When the pipeline of your process and the amount of leads coming in from Google ads is getting you to the point where you need more salespeople. So what I mean by that is, because we're in a situation where like we're creating a snowball effect, you're going to get to the point where you have too much work to handle, too many appointments to handle. So if your sales guy builds a pipeline and is getting 2 or 3 referrals per job, it has a solid closing rate, is getting a couple appointments around every appointment that he's hitting and all of that, and it gets to the point where he's just running so many appointments a day that he can't handle it, and you're having to tag in and all that, it's time to start hiring more salespeople. Now, at this point, this is when you begin looking at phase 3. So before scaling the budget, phase 2 sales team should be established and kept for this at the same size for as long as reasonably possible. So what I mean by that is like, put pressure on the business. It's okay for your business to feel pressure. Don't make decisions thinking you can see around corners, because you can't, and it will not go well. So make sure that you have the right crew and challenge them and pressure them and make it fun and hustle, and then bring in new people into that culture, and you're going to watch and see a lot stronger candidates, a lot better people. And also, when your salespeople are making crazy amounts of money, which they will, if you're doing all this stuff right, it'll be easier for them to help you recruit, which is usually going to be where you're getting your best guys anyway. So move to the next phase when you need more salespeople. All right. Phase 3 is scaled acquisition and referral partners and branding. So scaled acquisition, we already have Google Ads rolling. We're getting 30 to 40 appointments per month from the Google Ads at least. This is usually going to be maybe an $8,000 to $12,000 budget, just kind of depending on where you're at. I mean, obviously that's a big range. You might even be more, but this is your total adjustable market. What that means is how many people are realistically in the areas that you're targeting. And if you live in Houston, don't target all of Houston. Target Katy, or target Fulshire, or target a couple main areas. And that's where you're going to start seeing the biggest increase. But obviously, there can be more appointments, but just slowly, incrementally increase the budget until you're at a point where you're thinking, I think that's just how much we're going to spend on ads. I'm not trying to scale it and spend more. I've seen people spending $50K a month on Google Ads, and I think it's silly. I don't think it's necessary. I think you can get to the point where you're spending a lot, but I think that at that point, you could spend $15K on Google Ads and then start spending money on other more branding-oriented stuff to establish yourself a little more. So paid acquisition, make sure you're at where you need to be. You can always slowly increase it. At this point, this is a lever that you have really good understanding of within your business. You've taken things slow, but now you have a good, big, healthy budget. Personnel gaps, need to probably hire more salespeople. You need a project manager at this point, for sure. If a salesperson manages the products, that's okay. Definitely need an admin. You might even need 2 admins. So this is where it's going to get a little more nuanced, but these are kind of the main people that I would definitely focus on. Project manager, sales staff, and admin, and then your personal needs from there. I would put a lot of energy at this phase into referral partners and sponsorships. Now, I think B&I groups and stuff are fine, though not my style, so I'm never really going to promote that. But I know people have good success with it. But realtors, for sure good. Schools, for sure good. Sports teams, like a little local sports team or even a kids sports team, sponsor it. A church, sponsor it. If you know any local little Instagram influencers or something that are somewhat relevant that you can get to promote you, do it, etc. Matt Danskin's program, great thing to look at right here. And you can do that earlier. Great program. So referral partnerships, though, this is where you really are getting your brand and establishing yourself as a member of the community. You're not just a company at this point. You're a brand and a member of the community. And you really want to like spend some money putting yourself out there. Have professionally shot videos, like a whole gambit of different videos, company story, it's storming, blah, 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 blah. Like have all this. this is where you might even consider hiring an in-house videographer. You don't need that, but it's not a bad person to have. A lot of roofing companies have it, and I think it's a really smart idea. Social media branding budget. At the very least, make sure your videos are getting 1,000 impressions a day. That's not as much as you think. That's probably going to be like $30 to $40 ad spend a day. I might consider doing $100, $200 a day. It just depends on how big you are. You probably want to focus on like 5% of your revenue or something is how much you're spending on marketing. Radio ads, definitely not a bad thing. Radio's kind of dying, so I would be careful, but a lot of people still listen to it. And if you can get an inexpensive slot, I think it's a good idea just because they hear you. This one, Hulu streaming service ads. You can do these for cheap. You can target zip code. So if I'm watching my favorite show on Hulu and I get a commercial, I could see your roofing company. This is smart. YouTube ads. You already have the shop videos. You already have someone doing your pay-per-click, which is the same platform as YouTube. They just have to make a few tweaks. TV commercials. This one, it really just depends on how expensive they are in your market, but not a bad idea. At this point, you're probably going to get to the point where you're spending 20, 30K a month on marketing. And that's fine, especially if you're growing at the rate that I think you would be at this point. And then billboards. Definitely think they're a good idea. I don't think you need a billboard right away, but I think a few billboards around the town and the area, kind of surrounding the area you're working, where people are running through it every time, it's going to help when they see you on Google. It's going to help when they see you in the neighborhood. It's going to help when they see you on Facebook, want to reach out to you. Now, next phase is optional. I said there's 4 phases, and there are, but you could stay at phase 3. I'm not going to say indefinitely, but for a long time. If you as the owner is really just ready to step away from key roles, partially or fully, and you think it's about time for me to go on more vacations and all of that, and you should be able to at this level too. You should have a pretty solid team around you. But if you're really just trying to get out, this is when you move to the next phase. This one's going to be a 2-year long phase. It's not quick, but you're just going to start seeing. This is where you've gotten to the point where you have such a good machine that the majority of your marketing and branding raises the tide for you, and you're able to see it grow. So move to the next phase when you want to step away. So where we're at, this is phase 4, scale leadership and build an internal team. So this is where you really start okay, let's build a C-suite. Let's do that. Let's have a management team, and let's really make sure this company is running. And you'll still probably be involved, but you're going to step into what a CEO actually is, not an operator who owns the company, but an actual CEO where you have different managers and different departments that you're leading. So in this situation, I'll definitely have a sales manager, an operations manager, a production manager, and a marketing manager. So a leader within each of those areas of your business. On the business development team, which your marketing manager would probably run, you would want someone that's full-blown administrative, doing CRM stuff, but on the marketing side, someone who does social media. They can be the same person. At this point, I do think you should have a videographer. Optional is if you want to do your own SEO or if you want to do your own PPC, this is when you could start insourcing things and hiring people that you might want to pay $7,000 or $8,000 a month that would love to learn and be the best at SEO they can and just do it all day long for you and pay-per-click all day long for you. And you could scale your Google ads and have some more fun with it at this point. But this, I don't really know exactly the best resources on how to find, on where to train these people, but there are plenty. As someone who owned a marketing agency in the past and has coached marketing agencies and all of that, guys, there's so many people that own a marketing business because they thought it sounded fun, that are making $1,000 or $2,000 a month take home are over their heads and love marketing, but don't love running a business and learned it the hard way. And those people are probably ready to come in, get a good cushy salary, and just do these things for one person. And they have a really, really good skill set, and they have the ability to think like an owner, which is another nice thing. Next would be additional business units. So this is if you want to start in like more remodeling and stuff like that. It might be like a different thing for you as the owner to pour yourself into. You could do custom homes, pools, whatever. This is when you kind of get past the ancillary services, like the ones that usually go with roofing, and start doing like very different business. You could also go heavy on a commercial in this situation. That's what I think a lot of people do, is the owner will just go all in on commercial while they have the residential machine rolling. And then enterprise ready goals. This is if you want to sell for a big number. We've seen some cool stuff lately. I think recently we saw someone sell for 100 million or something crazy like that. I don't know the name, but it's crazy. Private equity is in roofing. So if you have dreams of selling your business, you want to make sure you're doing specific things. So you want to maximize your market value, and that's just going to be churning and burning, maintaining profit and all that. But like, this is where you go build a brand. This is where you go spend $1,000 a day on Facebook ads and radio and all of that, so that like you're spending a ton of money and the majority of your budget on branding. You could consider a franchise model and franchising your business if your systems are just crazy down pat and you think it's realistic. But if you're going to franchise, make sure that you're just make sure that people are like really, really getting taken care of. If someone signs on with you and signs a big FDD and all of that, and then they're not happy, you're going to be in a rough spot. So I would really strongly encourage you to make sure that you are putting as much effort and energy into developing the people who are the franchises, and willing to listen too. Like, different markets are going to sell you different things and all that. And make sure that you have a McDonald's-esque operating strategy for them. That's really important. If you don't, and then that's what people think they're getting when they get a franchise. So do that. Then additional markets. This could be done at other phases as well, but I think this is when you should. I don't love when I see people who have only broken like 3 million in one market, all of a sudden thinking they want to go hit 2 or 3 million in another market. It doesn't make sense to me unless their market's truly tapped out, which it usually isn't. So I would focus on one market at a time. But then when you get here, this is when you could start launching in additional markets and building out management teams. I would suggest having some experience here for 6 months to a year before you do additional markets, because you're going to need strong leaders that don't need to be babysat, and you need to know how to deal with manager style people rather than just the individual salesman in that. So, my friends, this was the 4 phases of growth. Very, very nuanced. It's going to look different for everybody, but my opinion is really getting clear on having different intentional things that you're doing at intentional times. If you're going from, okay, I want to grow. Like, if you just say, I want to grow, and you hire a bunch of salespeople, and then you spend a bunch of money on ads without a real plan and without a real process that you're bringing the leads into and the salespeople into, you're going to struggle. If you're spending $10,000 on ads and you don't have a process, you're going to struggle. If you don't do things in the right order, you're going to struggle. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't fix it and figure it out, but this, in my opinion, is the smoothest path to growth. So guys, I appreciate you. We'll talk soon. Comment below what you thought. Shoot me a message if you have any questions. As always, guys, we have our Built Right program. The Built Right program is meant to help roofing contractors build internal growth strategies to have a compounding process within their business. So it's really heavily focused on phase one and then helping people work through the additional phases as ongoing support and consultants and all of that. So guys, we want to help you get that foundation established, those processes established. That's what we do. Reach out if you want to talk. And otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Watch this video. Hope it helps. See ya.